Welcome to The Racing Mentor with Jess Shanahan, a brand new podcast that will help you fund your racing career and reach new heights. Hello everyone, my name is Jess and I am your racing mentor. I'm also a former team boss, a journalist, a PR, and I'm also the vice chairperson of a campaign to save a rural Norfolk pub. This podcast is a bit of an introduction as to who I am, because I know a lot of you don't really know. Listen on, I'm not being as maybe big-headed and narcissistic as it sounds, but a lot of this is relevant to what I'm doing and what I'm trying to help you with in your search for sponsorship. At the end of this podcast, I'll give you a few basic tips on where you need to start when it comes to searching for sponsors, so stick with me. The reason I started The Racing Mentor is because I've worked hard to find my drive, and by that I mean my ambition and determination, and I've realised this is absolutely something that can be taught. I want to teach you how to take your career by the horns, find sponsorship, make a difference for your partners, and get out racing in the car of your dreams. It is possible, and I've seen it done. I've helped drivers achieve this and have nudged so many people in the right direction. I felt it was time to formalise that into a blog and this podcast so I can help more of you. Going forward, these podcasts will be full of interviews with drivers, brands, coaches, business people and more. They'll tell you their stories and give you information that you can use to further your career in motorsport. I've already got a few cool guests lined up, but I'd love to hear from you on who you'd like to hear on this show. Just tweet me at Racing Mentor and let me know. Today, you just get to hear from me, because although I know many of you will have seen me on social media, I keep the different parts of my life quite separate. So while you might know about how I was team boss of Turn 8 Racing, PR for Rebecca Jackson, and about my brief stint working with Team Hard, you don't necessarily know that I'm a business journalist, that I run my own marketing agency, and that I have a vast collection of Jeffrey Campbell shoes. You won't know that I started off wanting to work in the music industry and was the part of a launch of a huge music platform. My story doesn't involve striving to find people to pay me money to drive cars, but my story is very relevant. I gave up a well-paid job to follow my dream. I became a brand ambassador and I'm hunting for the kind of financial freedom that will help me to get on a yacht at the Monaco Grand Prix. In fact, that was my 5-year goal when I started my marketing agency, and that 5-year mark is coming very, very soon, so watch this space. Back in 2012, I was working for a PR agency. On paper, it was the dream job, and while I enjoyed it, I felt like something was missing. It took me a while, but eventually I decided to jack it all in and start my own agency offering social media, marketing, and PR services. I wanted to do things my way, and since that fateful sunny day in May, where I got the worst sunburn of my life while filling out the paperwork to incorporate Jet Social, my drive has only grown. I worked as a copywriter, PR and social media manager for a while, making okay money but still feeling like something was missing. I wanted an empire. I'd successfully grown my fashion and fitness blog and it helped pay the bills, but I wanted more of that journalistic lifestyle. It took some time, but I began to juggle a career as a journalist. I started the Turn 8 blog, and I started talking about Formula One to anyone who would listen. My ambitions grew, and through some trial and error, I soon began to realise that I could do absolutely anything, and I know you can too. This kind of self-belief is important because anyone that you speak to will be able to tell if you doubt yourself. If you want to be able to sell yourself as a racing driver, brand ambassador or candidate for that dream job, you have to believe you can do it. If you don't believe in yourself, why should a prospective sponsor? This is something I hark on about over and over, and those who know me probably get annoyed with my incessant questioning when they say they can't do something. Why? Why not? If you want convincing that you can do something, just email me on jess@racingmentor.com. I'm good at pep talks and I'm willing to give them out any day of the week. There's very little in this world that's completely out of reach with a little determination and hard work. It's this that sets some racing drivers apart from others. Of course, there are drivers with rich parents who get a lot of help, but do you truly believe that at any point in his early career, Lewis Hamilton was allowed to sit back and say, "Not today," or "I can't"? When I was a kid, I wanted to be a television presenter. I had the path all sorted out in my head. I was going to go to university to train as a journalist, and I'd get into broadcasting from there. As it turned out, I didn't go to uni. I thrust myself headfirst into a music marketing career before realising that I wasn't going to make any money from it, at least not in the short term, just after leaving college. This shows that the path you plan isn't always the path you'll take, and that's fine. Goals are good, but don't get down if things don't always go the way you want. Learn from this and stop saying "I can't," because I know you can. We all can. Not so long ago, while enjoying a career as a motoring journalist and doing the odd car review and sweary rant on YouTube, as well as talking about F1 on TalkSport, I decided I wanted to follow my dreams of being a television presenter once again. Within a week, I was sitting in a TV studio meeting with the station director about my own show. There's a saying that goes something like, "She believed she could, so she did." I wrote a simple email to a contact that had links to the television studio. She passed on my contact details, and I got a very speedy reply from Cambridge TV asking to discuss my idea. I pitched a single road trip piece, but following a number of discussions, they said they wanted to do a whole show, and it was amazing. I got to drive Swish cars, talk about them at length, and I realised I was terrible at RC racing. This kind of ambition is a skill I want to teach people. I've taught myself to go out and get the things I want, and I've helped others to do it too. I might not have got some Swish TV show on the BBC, but that's not what I was aiming for. I aimed at a level I knew I could get into. And I've asked for help along the way, built contacts, and have realised that we can do anything if we just put our minds to it. The whole reason I'm here, and probably the reason you're here too, is because I feel I have something to give. Not just about the specifics of emailing prospects about sponsorship, but about the self-belief it takes to get somewhere. Again, stop thinking that you can't. Just get out there and start doing it. Don't worry if you don't know how to get started though. I'll touch on that in a future podcast. My motoring journalism career really got going when Vauxhall invited me to Wales to experience the new Adam Rocks. An experience which also involved ziplining face first across a quarry at more than 100 miles per hour, which was absolutely terrifying. It was during this trip that I met businesswoman, journalist and racing driver Rebecca Jackson, who you might know as Rebecca Racer. It was as she was giving me driving pointers on the windy roads of North Wales that we formed a bond that was the beginning of a long working relationship and friendship. Working with Rebecca has been an eye-opener into the world of what it's like to be a racing driver, with the determination to get stuff done. Her Project Le Mans saw her go from club racer to racing at the infamous Le Mans race in just over 3 years. That's such an achievement. I'm proud of Rebecca, and I'm so pleased to have shared part of this journey with her. It was fantastic helping her with ideas to pitch to sponsors and spreading her message around the world. She will be a guest on this show very soon, so you can get a real insight into what it's like to set a goal and follow it through with such determination. Rebecca is also a prime example of what it means to be more than a racing driver, but that's a story for another day. She'll be joining me on this podcast, so make sure you subscribe and give @RacingMentor a follow on Twitter so you don't miss her. Over the last year, I've worked with race-winning Porsche Championship team Turn 8 Racing, who this year will be known as PDC Racing. I've also spent some time working with Team Hard, have built websites for and given advice to drivers across a range of series. I also interviewed Alex Zanardi about his amazing career and how strategic partnerships with his sponsors helped that along. That was definitely a highlight of what I've done so far. What I've learned from all this experience in motorsport and my wider career is that racing drivers need to start thinking like a business. You need to establish your personal brand and learn how to sell it. Make sure you subscribe to this podcast, as I'll be bringing you all sorts of information, advice and tools to help you get on track and succeed. There's also loads more information on www.racingmentor.com/blog. For now, I'm going to leave you with the 4 elements I think are most important when it comes to contacting sponsors. I suppose this is the bit that you've been waiting for. The first tip is to leverage your personal contacts. You'll probably find that someone in the depths of your Facebook friend list owns a business and would be open to a discussion about sponsorship. Your parents might know someone looking to promote their business, or a former employer might jump at re-establishing contact. It's so much easier to sell to people we know because there's no awkward cold contact. And generally, if they can't help, they could be in a position to introduce you to someone who can. Second, you need to hook someone with that first email. That means you need a killer subject line and a great opening paragraph. With your subject, focus on the benefits to that business. I'm going to do a whole blog post, ebook on this, but go for something along the lines of a unique marketing tool to help you sell more lawnmowers. Insert their product there to show that you have really thought about what they're doing and are familiar with the things that they sell. It shows that you've done your research, but it also instantly tells the reader it's not spam and that there's something in it for them. Play around with different subject lines, but as I said, I will be doing a full post on this with loads of examples. Thirdly, give a call to action in your email. You need to make proper contact with your prospect as soon as possible after piquing their interest, because these are busy people. If you don't give them a reason to get back to you, they probably won't. Offer at the bottom of your email 3 times you're free for a meeting or a phone call and ask the prospect to get back to you. That way there's no awkward back and forth trying to set a date where someone might get bored or an email might get missed. Finally, and this is so important, and I think this is the part that a lot of drivers miss, is that you need to follow up. Don't just send 50 emails and expect one to stick. Do your research, find the right people, send the email, and then call them. Always be polite and respectful of their time, but you need to get on the phone. The prospect might tell you they're not interested, but at least you know and you can move on. You can simply ask them if they saw your email, and then ask them when they might be free for a meeting. Once you can get someone face to face, you have so much more chance of being able to sell the benefits of what you can offer them. I have gone a bit more in depth on these points in various blog posts. So take a look on racingmentor.com for all the details. You can also read the show notes for this particular podcast, also known as My Life Story, where there's loads of links and images and stuff. Just go to racingmentor.com/podcast/001, as this is my first. Thank you for listening. I hope I've inspired you just a little bit. Your journey ahead isn't necessarily going to be easy, and there are going to be ups and downs, but you're also going to achieve something big, and I can't wait to hear all about it. I'd appreciate any and all feedback, so feel free to get in touch with Jess at racingmentor.com if you have any comments or questions. Once again, don't forget to subscribe. It's been great having you here. You can also find me on Facebook and Twitter. I am simply Racing Mentor, or you can follow my personal Twitter account, which is at JetLBomb. Thank you again, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.